Alright, welcome back. Once again, I'm going to be your casting host, Beef. Joining me, as always, is going to be Snow. How you doing, Shay?
Doing very well today, Kyle, and yourself?
Doing pretty dang well as well. And so, we are here on whatever map this is. What the hell map is this, Shay? Do you know?
It is apparently Atlantis spaceship.
Atlantis Spaceship. How did I not recognize that? Oh yeah, because it's not on the ladder map rotation, and I don't know it well enough anywhere else. Anyway, so Atlantis Spaceship is going to be one of the newer maps in the tournament scene here, and we'll get to see a little bit of cool stuff out of this Terran and the Protoss, see how they react on something that, like I said, has not made it into the ladder rotation yet, is one of the maps on the GSL, and a couple other tournament leagues, but I'm excited to see a game here. Alrighty, let's get these players introduced. In the bottom left-hand corner, playing under the pink color, he is our Protoss player. He is Chelch.
And in the top right, wearing the yellow trunks, GGPneumo.
GGPneumo. I love spelling pneumo with the P because that's, correct.
Yeah, I had to definitely second guess myself there for a second.
Yeah,
Whether that be a silent P or not.
Yeah, for sure. It always reminds me of something like a pneumatic hammer or a
Onyx?
pneumothorax. Yeah, pretty good. I really do like the word pneumothorax, though. And we do see that the Hellion. Man, there's Hellions on the field already. Everybody look out.
Well, it's kind of a little bit of speed hacking going on Atlantis spaceship today.
SCV and the probe do cross each other there near the Zelnaga towers, and the SCV is going to plop down a barracks.
Little proxy rack.
Yeah. So we'll see how that proxy Rex end up going here. The probe is going to get into the base and see that there is only one barracks up with just the second supply depot going down. He's going to say, "Hey, this is 3 minutes. You guys, you should have more money than this." Like,
And something that you can tell right away by this rack is that there's not going to be an add-on on it because of where it's placed.
Yeah, I would expect there wouldn't be one. You'd want to place that somewhere further if you were going to do that because of the proxy racks and the timed nature of the attack. You don't want to be having to lift that up and move it. And the probe is actually going to be dropping down what looks to be a proxy pylon over here. Yeah, there's the proxy pylon. So we'll see.
We did see Proxy Reaper just last game, so it's...
Yeah, Proxy Reaper. Like I said, even before that, some Marauder play. I've seen that before. So we'll see how that goes. With that one proxy rack, this is going to be 2 racks play. Pulling off 4 SCVs, 5 SCVs off the line.
He's chronoing the Stalker in response, perhaps.
Yep, chrono boosting out that first Stalker. Really wants to be able to get that SCV down in the base. And those 5 SCVs are going to be making their way to the ramp here pretty soon. Zealot and a Stalker coming out. And over here we do have a robotics facility at that proxy pylon. So what do you think that's going to be, Shay?
Well, I mean, we gotta expect that he's gonna have an immortal strolling up his ramp here in a couple minutes.
We'll see. And 4 Marines at the door do manage to take down that Zealot. Going to be putting pressure onto the next units here, but the Stalker with its high movement speed and shield is going to be very effective at dealing with these Marines. 2 Marines going to be stuck on the Stalker so that it's not able to really take care of
2 bunkers going down, trying to choke up the probes there so they can't get down and cause some havoc. It's really interesting.
Yeah, Marine's going to be doing a pretty good job of stutter step kiting, and the SCV not going to be able to finish.
They're actually ignoring the SCV on that bunker, and he gets those 2 in there.
Man, yeah, I would expect that SCV to have died, but unfortunately the SCV was in a pretty good position, and both these bunkers do end up going down. No salvage or cancel on either one of them, and the Marines are cleaned up, so this is going to be cleaned up pretty effectively here. Bad rally point with a couple of Marines going in there. 4 Marines are going to be able to do pretty well against those 2 Stalkers if the Stalkers want to fight into that, but the Stalkers always have the option of running away, just like this Barracks does. Barracks will be retreating.
And back here we see the Robo still does not start to do anything yet. The probe's still hanging out by it.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of having to pull all those probes and the amount of probes that he lost, a total of 9 workers killed for our Terran player. So 9 workers less than that Protoss would like to have, so he's not really going to be able to afford the production off of that Robo right away.
And there is the Immortal building now.
Yeah, the Immortal's going to be coming out, so the advantage of putting the Robo so close up there is that the rally time to the Terran's base is going to be significantly shorter, and that the Terran doesn't know that that's coming. He's going to say, hey, this He's gonna think that he did a lot worse. Oh my god, take it, Shay.
So yeah, the Barracks is just getting shot by the stalker. Interesting what he's going to try to do. I guess he wants to see if there's an expo up or not, maybe sacrificing that production facility. Same time, his CC is just finishing. He does have a bunker down with stocked and another one building, so he's going to be able to reinforce that. First Immortal he's actually supply blocked, so there's the Immortal trying to build, but it's unable to. Another Immortal just hanging out there at the third.
Yeah.
And he is now scouting in with the probe.
So we do see if that Barracks managed to make it to the high ground here. The Stalker's not going to be able to finish that off. And hopefully the Barracks will be able to poke in there, kind of like an Overlord, once again, making these.
It is on fire, though, so I mean, time is money right now.
Yeah. Wants to be able to get in there and see if a Nexus ever comes down. That Barracks only has about 60 seconds before it burns down. So
oh, and Pneumo just scouted the forward pylon here.
He's going to scout the forward pylon. Unfortunately, has not seen that robotics facility yet, so even if he gets into the base and sees the entirety of the Protoss base, he's still not going to be able to see the whole picture here.
We can still see the fallout of that supply block, though. We now have a queued Immortal behind that original Immortal.
Yeah, and actually losing a Stalker to these Marines here is something that you never really want to see happen. A little bit of miscontrol from our Protoss player.
Another pylon. This one a little more defensible. And just that Barracks just now has burnt down and fallen into that giant industrial fan.
Yeah, I would not like to see the reaction of a Barracks into that fan. Somebody's gonna have a real tough day cleaning that out. And we do see a Warp Prism that's actually being produced here. So a Warp Prism, in addition to these two Immortals, we're going to see a little bit of Warp Prism and Immortal drop harass. Immortals do very effective against workers, against something like a probe. Two Immortals will actually one-shot it, but because of SCVs having additional life, they will actually take 3 shots from an Immortal compared to a probe or a drone.
Well, that SCV just had his day ruined, but he did see the forward pylon and maybe even the secondary one. Not sure about that.
Alright, I'm keeping an eye over here on this Warp Prism, see if it's going to be able to get in there at all. So far the Terran has not seen this.
I mean, the Terran is floating a lot of minerals for those barracks to be idle right now, and now they're moving.
Yeah, a little bit.
And you'd like to see more SCV production from him too. I mean, his expo here is really not saturated very much. He is floating those minerals, and there's the warp in and the Immortals coming into the base.
All right, and so the Zealots are going to be going right for that research bay. Unfortunately,
it's going to just
finish, and so the damage that's being done by this is relatively minimal.
He does drop it. And it looks like he'll really drop this refine if he wants to.
Yeah,
but he doesn't.
Oh wow, he's going to continue warping
it's not
in
good.
there. And a little bit interesting because I don't think that he's going to be able to push into that. The bunkers are going to be salvaged in the front. What are you doing salvaging those bunkers? You needed those bunkers. And
the starport's days are numbered. It is flaming and it is exploding.
Yeah, the Protoss did an excellent job at actually baiting that in. As soon as those bunkers were salvaged, he walks right in there, force fields the ramp, and is going to be able to put in some massive amounts of damage into this command center with no way of getting down this ramp. There's
with
nothing.
Impunity, the Terran has really kind of locked himself in his own castle at this point.
Most certainly, and it really got to question the decision to salvage those bunkers. A couple of Zealots going to be falling to this bio ball over here, and the Mortals and Stalkers inside the base are going to be really just putting some immense amounts of pressure on. The SCVs are going to be trapped by these force fields still, and the bio ball trying to cover from the top area. But at this point, the Protoss has done so much damage, very wise to just retreat. Going to actually even be able to get all of the units out of that base with some very effective transport by that Warp Prism.
Oh, it's hard to watch as a Terran.
Yeah, that's absolutely brutal. Absolutely beautiful play there by the Protoss. And frankly, a little bit of a blunder salvaging those bunkers and pulling up the entire army when he saw that there was a prism at the front of the base. And
to Pneumo's credit, he did manage to save both CCs, which is pretty good, although they're now both in rather inopportune positions, and he is pumping SCVs on them. And the army moving now with a chunk of SCVs. This is really almost looking like kind of a last hurrah here for Pneumo.
Yeah, that's most certainly what it is. This is a big bit-by-bit pull, and he will be going all in.
Interesting that he's researching stim as this is happening, as well as having a start wearing down his unit's hit points as well.
Yeah. And so we will follow this as it comes in, but back at the Protoss base, we do see that the production is relatively minimal here. We only have 4 gates that Proxy Robo not going to be useful in this case, but 2 Immortals and 7 Stalkers in addition to some Sentries. Hopefully he'll be able to get some Zealots warped in. He needs some tank at this point, and he does not have an expansion. This has all been off of one base, so he is wisely going to use those force fields to try to make sure that he's going to be able to...
Dropping a scan, even try to get a few shots up, but
Yeah.
no luck.
And drop some force fields, buy him the time that he needs to get a couple of rounds of Zealots out, and then force the engagement on the choke there. Not really what the Terran wants to have happen.
Now, really, I mean, Pneumo's really going to want, in this situation. I mean, there's 3 or 4 sentries up there that he can hold that ramp indefinitely with shields. He's really better off just pulling back at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has pulled all of his SCVs, all 15 SCVs at this point, and Zealots and Stalkers are going to be cleaning up his main. I think that our Terran players' days might just be numbered. We'll have to see. This is really going to be his last opportunity. His base is done for. And splitting up his army right here, trying to make sure that they don't both get segmented off by force fields. He wants to have the best engagement possible, so he's got a nice concave, but that really is going to be the most effective if the Protoss were to move into him, and that Protoss is never going to come down that ramp.
No. And just cleaning up the base, factory's gone, barracks gone. He's down to a depot, refinery, and his 2 CCs, which are kind of floating off.
Yep. And the Warp Prism is going to be coming home now. The 4 Stalkers and 4 Zealots will be cleaning up anything that's left in the base over there, and then moving in to try to flank during this battle.
Interesting, he's leaving that refinery out.
Yeah, I think at this point it's more imperative that he gets back home. The energy is wearing relatively thin on those sentries, and he needs to have a couple of Guardian shields in addition to some force fields left for when this battle inevitably comes in. And I'm a little bit worried about his warp ins. I don't exactly know where those are going. A nice job, warp.
Thermal lance going down, so all he really needs is 1 Colossi to clean this up.
Yeah, but look at that. Right over here at the 9 o'clock position, there has been a probe that was ferried out of the base by the Warp Prism, actually going to be able to set up a hidden expansion. And like you said, Thermal Lance going down in addition to that Colossi, and that will really just do it. And the Terran just in a really tough position right here. He tried to go all in, but being only on one base, the ramp can be held almost indefinitely by those sentries. With 5 sentries, I think it can actually be held indefinitely, and the Terran has to be on tilt. I don't know about you, but if I was sitting up here looking up that ramp with that force field blocking it, I would be just absolutely raging.
I would be reaching for F10 right now, yeah.
And so what do you think that our Terran player is going to do?
I mean, he's the option. I mean, he can run away and try to rebuild, which is snowball's chance in hell, or he can run up that ramp, which is about the same odds. So he's really, I mean, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and it looks like a small contingent of 5 Marines, a Marauder, and an SCV being pulled off over here, as he has found this Nexus, the second hidden Nexus, and a Colossus is going to be able to be ferried down to the Nexus at the 9 o'clock position. What do you think is going to be happening there?
Well, I mean, he's got 3 Colossi queued up at that Proxy Robo now, as well as another protecting his other expansions. So there's really pretty difficult to assault any of these.
Yeah. Oh, that's what actually happened. The Proxy Robo is up there, so he needs to move the Colossus into his main base. Right?
And this Colossi is going to melt this Bioball.
Yeah, 1 Colossus versus 5 bio units. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, it had
Terran actually poking up into the base there. Unfortunately, not really effective. Army supply in the lead of the Protoss, 68 to 40 at this point.
Only losing a couple CVs into that Colossus.
And the Terran looks like he's finally going to be retreating, possibly. He's given up his concave. He's going to drop a scan and say, hey, maybe I can get up there. But I just do not see this happening, and I feel like it's just a matter of time. Going to be dropping the 4th Nexus here, is the Protoss. Unfortunately, that is going to be roasted. And the Terran GG's.
And there's the GG.
So that was a bit of an interesting game. proxy versus proxy, as the title on Reddit did imply, and didn't exactly work out the way that the Terran wanted it to. Bit of an interesting game there on one base, and the Protoss really just showing the versatility of one base and one base Colossus, and not only TVP but also TVT.
I mean, that one engagement in the sort of counter proxy that really so favorable to the Protoss that Pneumo just could not recover from the damage that was done there.
Certainly, it was excellent warp prism control, excellent harass, and really some brilliant strategic decision making there by the Protoss player when he was able to draw the units back into the main, segment them off, and then really just take out the natural expansion. Excellent play from our Protoss player Chelch here. And once again, this has been Snow and Beef casting some games from reddit.com/r/castit. The link will be in the description of this video on YouTube. Make sure to submit any of your replays there, and some casters like ourselves might be picking those up. We will continue to do diamond level play and up when they pop up on that forum. And once again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.